I mean, I am fascinated by the fact that the word taste both means kind of yum yum umami and ooh, I don't like that sofa. I mean, it's a really interesting kind of conflation, and I think they are related. And I mean, for me, you know, one of the most interesting things, I mean, reading, I mean, the food people in the audience will know the great Harold McGee, who is also on the Oxford Food Symposium, kind of in that family. Talked amazingly in his book on food and cooking about the way taste is like the most primal, the primal sense, because literally even a protozoa tastes, because they have to get nourishment in from the environment and they have to decide between what is nourishing and what is poison. You know, so this absolutely fundamental judgment that it involves is, of course, what it shares with the other kind of taste, as you say. And it's interesting. I mean, I think, you know, like Epicureanism has been hijacked by the wrong people. All the good ideas get hijacked by the wrong people, including democracy and freedom. But anyway, you know, the idea that Epicureanism has become this idea of, oh no, I only drink Chateauneuf de Pape sort of thing. It's just such rubbish. I mean, actually, Epicurus said, you know, you only need bread and water, basically, because the pleasure you get from satisfying hunger and satisfying thirst is as good as it gets. All the sophistication, if you like, of human enjoyment is in the necessary. And this, for me, is really, really important. So he talked about the fact that, you know, if you just drink wine every day and, you know, you have too much honey and too many sweetmeats, you will lose the ability to get that pure pleasure out of just bread and water. And that is the problem. So I think there's a kind of question of corruption buried in there. And for me, it's about, I mean, I remember when I was actually being an architect and teaching students, one of the things I would always say is go from scale to scale, you know, draw it at 1 to 20, draw it at 1 to 2000, you know, keep the thinking moving as though it's a muscle, basically. And I think it's the same when we kind of ask the question of what matters in life, what is a good life. You know, we have to sort of say, we have to remember the fundamentals. And from the you know, got to get your feet on the ground, literally. And once your feet are on the ground, and for me, actually having my fingers in soil is a really good way of doing that, growing my own food, then you can listen to an opera and it has some frame of reference. You know, it's not just woo up here. It's kind of got what, you know, both Peter and Dalibor taught many of us to think of as verticality, you know, the verticality of a culture, which also, by the way, Stephen Mennell very brilliantly wrote about in his book, All Manners of Food. He talks about a great food culture going from what the peasants are doing to what the king's doing and everything in between. You know, you need the landscape and you need the aspiration and everything as a movement. So I think that's a really, really wonderful insight as well.